CosmicRadio.TV.
Cinematalkraphy.
Yo, have you seen this weather lately? It's wild.
Yeah, it is the craziest weather I have ever seen.
Yeah. Man.
Hey, did you ever get into the modding scene?
No, not really. Why?
Let's go outside. Just close your eyes, though. It's a surprise.
Alright.
This had better be worth it, Roberto.
Just trust me on this one. All right, we're here. Open your eyes.
Wow.
Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. I'm your host, Roberto Vegas, joined as always by...
Brand Hughes.
And today, I guess we're going to the apocalypse for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
We just got out of Mad Max.
Woo!
Are you ready to hunt for water and gas in the future? Have you figured out what is your apocalypse?
Man, I am thirsty. Like, you noticed, I didn't buy anything this time around.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Usually I get
This is
something.
probably one of the closest times we had to get, like, we got to
Oh,
having
it was
to get
down to the wire.
like where I had to get a refund. Like I was contemplating. I was like, I've never done this before, but we are minutes before they close the doors and
Yeah.
we're sealed off. We're like, well, fuck, we got.
Showing started at 5 o'clock. I came in at 4:58.
What the hell happened?
We walked in
4:58.
and sat down, and then it was the draft house thing.
Yeah,
their bumper.
Yeah, we barely made it for trailers and everything else. But that's not the reason we're talking. We're talking because
What?
of Mad Max.
I thought we were just going to talk about getting here the whole time.
As always, if you've never seen an episode of Cinematography, it's your first one. This will be completely spoiler-ridden. My overall thing, if you're curious, maybe rent this thing.
Really?
Maybe.
Really?
I'll tell you what. It's okay. I'll explain why.
Really?
So let me put the good first. It is dripping with style.
Oh, man.
Not even
It's
gonna
got
lie.
so much style.
It's got a shit ton of style. It is dripping it in ways that
If nothing else, it is style.
Yeah, if nothing else, because it has it in spades.
Yes.
It brings in the cars, the gas, the mythology, like Valhalla makes
Just
it
the way it opens up and the words that they use to help establish the world is just they use the coolest fucking words the entire time, and it's just so much of it evokes that Mad Maxian atmosphere.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the thing I definitely can say about it, that it is style. That might be all it is, though, and maybe that's my problem. I'll be honest. Going into this film, I had no knowledge whatsoever.
All right.
I have never seen any of the Mad Maxes. I have to preface this because I feel it's important.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of the trailers. I've never seen any of the other Mad Max films.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the original films either.
I know of all the worlds and stuff like that, and I've seen definitely the things that have trickled down,
yeah.
your Fallouts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like about those worlds, and maybe this is my issue with it, is that a lot of those worlds build in a lot of what the past is in very intricate detail. And maybe my issue is that. And again, I hate to say this from not seeing the Mad Maxes. Maybe if I had, there'd have been a different knowledge of yeah, of course I know what the world is like. Everything exploded, whatever, nuclear holocaust. But because I didn't, and they really didn't go into much detail, it was just well, here's a cool set piece. Here's another cool set piece. Let's put another cool set piece, and that's fine. But that's all it was for me. I mean, what was your thoughts? Maybe I'm judging too harshly.
Maybe. I mean, so I loved it. Pretty much right out of the gate. I went into it knowing that I would love it, even though I've never seen any of the Mad Max stuff. Just I saw the first trailer, and like you said, there was so much style in that for me, that goes a long way. It goes a long way for me.
It can go a while away for me.
Yeah.
But so long as, the thing is that when you bring up that kind of world to me, the brain, maybe it's just me. And again, I'm not gonna say that it can't be, because my brain kicks into how does this work? That guy would, my brain goes into weird logic moments, but I know it shouldn't. because I realized, like, the style is enough there, and I will say it was shot gorgeously too.
Yeah,
Like, especially when you get into the not desert area, like kind of like the marsh. Well, I'll call it the marsh, the acid rain marsh,
the blue space.
Yeah, because it was just like it was shot beautifully.
Or when they went into the storm.
Yep.
Oh,
and that's the thing is that like it is a beautiful film. I think that might be. I say rent it just because of that I can get that still physically, but that may be still one of the reasons to maybe see on the big screen because it was a gorgeous film. I didn't expect it to be that pretty. I did not expect it to be because when we talk about desert scenes and stuff like that, a lot of time they will just stay constant. Like I will say like that opening shot. Maybe that was it. Maybe I wish we would have had a little bit more time with Max's backstory, and maybe that was my kind of fault with it. It just like I wished I had saw the other films because maybe I would have an entirely different opinion. Let's dig into the things you like.
I mean, first of all, like I thought it was really cool, and the movie's gotten a little bit of flack from men's rights people because they have a fucking strong female character, and it's awesome. It's really great. It's nice to see. It's refreshing. It's so great. It has like such rich world building in the movie that like really.
And I will say,
resonates with me because you can infer a lot of stuff about that world just from that movie. I mean, one of the really cool moments, and I'm glad that they used it sparingly, but like when they were looking at a satellite going overhead. Like it was a remnant of the old world, which is our future still, and so
right. And I like that a lot. Like, I wish we could have saw a little bit. Like, for me, a lot of it is just like I really want to know the history because, again, the thing I can say that I liked about it was that it still felt like a real place. Like, it's still, as fake as it was, I say it's fake in terms of like fantastical it was. It still had some reality. There were times I think during the opening sequence in the cliff that I could tell it was a green screen. Maybe I'm just getting very good at that because we're talking about this with Age of Ultron that we saw a couple of times we could tell it was CG.
Maybe you're just more paranoid now.
Maybe because I was like I saw like a shimmer and I'm like did I see that and did I see a green hit? Like it was not even like it was obvious, but like maybe my brain is now being more tuned to seeing CG just because we keep seeing it everywhere on all sets.
Maybe.
That being said, it definitely was a cool opening. I wished I could have learned more about not the old world, but more or less like how it is all these families are connected, how it is that they truly know each other, and maybe a little bit more of that. Because the one thing that it does, and whether or not that's to its advantage or disadvantage, is it never lets up on the gas.
Sure, yeah.
It truly literally from minute zero to minute end, it is just a complete high octane movie. Totally. Like it never lets up, and that for me, I almost kind of need. Like we talked about Age of Ultron in this, I need that moment of like a little bit more story, just because I get a little fatigued in the giant action sequences. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, not so much for me. I mean, they had one or two nice like kind of down moments, like right after the storm. There was that kind of really tense situation where he's holding the gun up at him, but it was still like compared to everything leading up to it, it was much calmer.
And
and speaking towards knowing like backstories and how people are connected and stuff, I feel like it's appropriate for this world that we don't know that information. Like it is this crazy desert apocalyptic blood and sand space where nobody kind of knows that stuff. Like at some point,
I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
Even some of the people probably don't even know their own.
And I guess that would make sense. Things just
situation.
Kind of things falling into the past and sort of being forgotten in time. And again, I have to preface is a lot of the only because I feel bad going into this, because if I had been sort of a guy that had grown up watching Mad Max and kind of getting into that, it would I wouldn't have gotten sort of the Fallout stuff and everything else that has sort of aped that and built their worlds around it and developed a lot of stuff and developed a lot of the backstory of whatever their apocalypse is, versus just sort of you're in this situation, no one really knows what's going on because everyone's forgotten, just because time has gone on and everything else like that. I think it's the kind of movie that you should watch, but watching almost the best. Like, I mean, we get spoiled by watching it at the Draft House and kind of having this sort of experience there, but not everyone gets that. And so I almost feel like if I were to watch this again, if I were to have consumed it the first time go around, I probably would have just rented it, or bought it digitally or something like that, where I'm watching it on my TV. Maybe I have headphones on. Maybe I'm hearing, because the one thing that I also liked about it a ton was the sound design.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was really good.
Yeah, and sometimes it read to me as, so much of this world is over the top, and it's this kind of like hyperbolic action, and so the sound sometimes would go tonally with how hyperbolic it is. Like, you would hear things clearer than you would imagine you'd hear things, but I think it all it just worked really well together. It was awesome.
The sound design was great. I loved the music. I was mentioning in the credits, we noticed it was Junkie XL that did the soundtrack, and like in the whole war scene, usually where there'd be trumpeters kind of or war drums beating, there's a guy with a fucking electric guitar and flames are coming.
Right.
I think that might have also separated too. So I'm like, I can't take this world seriously, but I know it's not supposed to be serious, but it's still a tense action moment that I should be taking this seriously in some form or fashion. I think it was this weird, like, my brain kept going from this is over the top and just accept it for being what it is to, but no, what if our characters die? Because we have our two main characters, are Max and Furiosa, who are in their one way or another looking for redemption of some sort. Max haunted by his past of not saving people at certain times, to Furiosa just trying to find her home, and none quite figuring out what that means. And so there's this really serious point, but it kept banging up against this like over the top style that my brain couldn't rectify the two.
Yeah, I think this might be like a personal problem.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because for me, I was going into it just like you, not having seen the other Mad Max films, and for me, I was totally open to saying, okay, so that's just how this universe operates.
Right.
That's how this world is. It can have those crazy, insane moments, and it can also be a little ridiculous. Like the guitar dude. After when Max is fighting the guitar dude, he like punches him and stuff, and then he leaves him alone, and the guitar guy comes back and just grabs the guitar, isn't even fighting, just decides to play guitar again in the middle of this huge
because he's got to keep the battle going. If you notice, he was chained. He also had like blood thing going in. Like he was like that. There is a lot of this world that is over the top stylistically, and I was on board with that. That's what's funny. Like I was like, okay. I accept this is over the top. I accept this is stylized. I'm going to keep that in my head. And just every time they bring in the drama or try to bring in the drama, my brain goes, are you doing this just because you feel you have to? Because if you just drop that, maybe I'd be even better with this movie. And maybe it was just like, maybe it is a personal thing. It's like, maybe I just don't want that level of drama in my my stylization. Because like they're even at a point where like they're ripping babies out of stomachs and like, it would have been a boy, it would have been a perfect specimen. I had a brother. I'm like this. I mean, I can see where this is coming, and I like the style and I like the idea of it being over the top. But I think having that drama element, even just the smidge of it, like to me, it almost rang as you're just doing this because you feel you have to. Because the thing is that when it kicked into overdrive at the beginning, I'm like, okay, this is the kind of movie I'm in for. Awesome. I'm not like in a I accept this, everything's cool, I know what I'm going into. It would be those moments of like they let up just a little bit of the gas to like try to do a drama thing that it wouldn't ring true for me.
But I also feel like they kind of, in such a desolate space, like I feel like they kind of need some of those drama moments to like motivate people, right?
Okay.
Because it would be, if it were just unrelenting the whole time, like I feel like it would be so easy for all of those characters just to give in to the world.
Okay, I think that's what you're saying.
And so I feel like on some element, it definitely needs that kind of stuff. And I feel like it did it fairly well, at least in the regard that it didn't come into my brain. It didn't bother me at all.
And that's the thing. Like I everything else about this movie, I definitely enjoyed. Like I said, the style was perfect for that world. The camera work was gorgeous. Like even explosions looked beautiful. And usually big explosions like are all kind of all shot the same, but but you'd see this like stark blue background, this explosion. It would be perfectly shot. You'd see trucks do spins and everything was like every bit.
Like when that dude was driven in between the two big trucks,
Yep.
and then he did that barrel roll,
Yep.
and the camera's like inside,
Yep.
and you see his face
Yep.
turning. Oh, it's so cool.
That's the thing is like there are those shots that are perfect. Like everything visually, I beyond maybe just that one moment where I thought I saw a green screen or two, and that wasn't even a big deal. Beyond that, everything visually was great. Every little point was awesome, and that. Like you even saw, like as they captured Max at the beginning of the movie, they tattoo him, I guess, with like, "I'm a blood bag, and here are my stats," kind of thing. Like you would any other like piece of item, like you'd label it, put a nutrition, whatever the fuck. I'm not. I can only kind of guess. And all that was great. The costume work was awesome. The wardrobe. There's a lot of things that I liked about it, and I definitely, like I said, dug the style a lot. It was those drama moments. I'm like, you haven't developed enough of this world. You haven't developed enough of these characters as much as I'd like to make me feel drama for them. Like I almost felt like we had the breeding mothers or whatever, like the perfect ones, were just again, they're just the object, and they're just this is the thing that'll push we're gonna chase after our property, so to speak. And yes, the idea of like we're not property, like that's such a very, not cliche, but just sort of a thing that happens in a lot of these, in movies in general, that I'm like, I need a little bit more of that. Because I definitely dug Max's story. I definitely dug the idea of, here's a guy, because like at the very beginning, like I think that's why I really wanted to hear more about Max, because he opens up saying like, the dead are chasing after me, the living are chasing after me. I'm a man of no world. I only know one thing, survival. And I loved that opening line. I'm like, I wanted to keep following this guy. I want to be with this guy for the whole thing. And then he gets captured at the beginning. Like, suck. Well, what's going to happen now? And I like that. Like, I definitely like your loner character and sort of that, because you can slowly, as he had flashbacks at the wrong moments, the wrong time, that became a hindrance to him. That became a very much that's his fault. And it would haunt him. And it was really, I definitely would have loved to hear him. Obviously, if I saw the other Mad Maxes, I would have that knowledge already. And I think that's where I have this disconnect, is that I know that it is a beautifully shot film. I know that if I were watching it on my television screen, only because, again, I have a decent screen and that kind of thing, I would have gotten the same effect visually versus having to be in the theater to do that. That being said, I still, like I said, I think visually it's his strongest suit, if I have to say that.
Totally. And also, how crazy is it that like we have this insane huge film that's all actiony, and it's in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it's super colorful.
That's the one thing
That's the one thing
I like too. Like we keep talking about the visuals. I know we keep harking on them, but they do a damn good job of still showing kind of the landscape of this apocalypse. Like we open up with a very deserty scene. You actually have a dual-headed chameleon lizard or whatever. Yeah. Then that's sort of the food thing at the beginning. You have that sort of like radiation, implying radiation, stuff like that. But we start at dusty kind of browns and stuff like that. We move into the blues. We move into like the reds and the oranges of the storm and whatnot. We then go from there to like the blues and the darks. So ultimately,
and there are like 5 shots with green in it.
Yeah, and then like only 5, and it's only like during the running.
And they're all like really important.
Right.
Yeah.
It does explain like, okay, they have food here and things like that. So I guess you're definitely right in terms of saying like it does build as much as it does. Like I said, it wasn't the world that bothered me. It wasn't the style. It wasn't the style, and it wasn't visually. But I will say the colors that was probably its thing. At least, especially when it came to showing the different points. I guess I'll let you go into. What was your sort of favorite scene then in terms of color grading?
A lot of the film is very orange. Kind of has to be.
Well, yeah.
It's tough. I mean, I think the whole thing was really beautiful. And for me, so honestly, probably my favorite, just as far as like color stuff goes, is going into the storm. Because not only do they have this phenomenal, awe-inspiring
backdrop,
but then
skybox in a video game, if you will.
Sure. But then the sand comes in, and there's lightning in the background, and everything goes to this really deep red, and it was just really visually super interesting.
And see, for me, it was the marshlands. It was
that was
deep blue.
second favorite.
Only because
I was waiting for that the entire time because they showed a little clip of it in the trailer.
Okay, see, that's
I know. I was
when
like,
it came to that,
I'm gonna love the blue.
Well, because I loved that shot, not because of just how it looked, blue and kind of dark and foreboding, but you saw people walking in there, and so people. It implies
and, like, the crazy Half-Life kind of creatures.
It implied people live there, things live there, and they put a lot of those seeds in there to have the world. And while I know some people love it when you leave a mystery and stuff like that, and I do think that you need to leave some mystery, but my brain goes, well, I want to know more because I want to spend more time in this world, and maybe that's what it was. Is that because everything kind of went by in a flash. That I couldn't spend as much time as I wanted to in one area or another. Like, that might have been my issue, really.
But also, like, wouldn't you want to leave wanting to know more than leave feeling like there was nothing left to discover?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe kind of maybe meet halfway. Maybe a halfway point of, like, because, again, we got to learn a little bit of things. We learned that the marshland used to be the green area and sort of lost hope for everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe a halfway point. Maybe there's a middle ground of having this, over-stylized world, where certain resources are precious and things like that, to sort of a halfway point. Maybe there's some middle ground I could have achieved. I think it is still a film well worth watching, but I think it's the kind of film that doesn't necessarily require me to go to the theater to watch. And maybe that's why I'm differing on saying rental versus like.
Would you say Avengers is more worth going to the theater to watch? Because for me, it absolutely is not.
Okay,
I think the Avengers has far more problems than.
No, I will say
movie.
that too, and maybe.
And this is just so like distinct.
No, for
and
sure, it's
bold
distinct.
and interesting.
I will say maybe my thing is when I say rent it versus theater. Mm-hmm. Maybe my brain goes and says, maybe I shouldn't even say that. Maybe I should have prefaced saying you should go check it out, because I think you think people should check it out. I think it's a good film. Mm-hmm. I think, however, would I say go rush and watch it like tomorrow? Maybe not. Not because it's bad, but because I can definitely get this if I watched it on another other screen, not like a phone or something like that, but definitely like
on a DS.
On a DS, yes. Yeah. Watch it on my 3DS or watch it on the iPhone. I'll put it on the iPad. It'll be perfect. Now, if it was an Oculus Rift, different fucking story.
That'd be cool.
See, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
See, like that's the problem is that like my brain kept kicking in to every other thing. Like I was watching while I was watching Mad Max, I was thinking, like, man, I really want to play Fallout New Vegas again. Shit, I need to play Fallout. How do I run Fallout 3 on my computer? Like, my brain kept going to all the other worlds. So, like, I kind of want, like, it was more of that I wanted to be in this world, in certain sections of the world, a little bit longer than the movie allowed me to. And again, maybe that's just because I had gotten a lot of the trickle-down stuff. I will say, acting-wise, everyone was okay. No one really struck me as like a powerful character. I mean, they all had moments, but no one struck me as like here's Oscar-winning gold, so to speak. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I usually am not able to pick up on that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, Max had but few lines. The few lines he had were all things like
half of his lines were just saying his name.
Yeah,
eventually,
or like, what do I call you? I'll call you fool. Like he never talked too much, and that was the
his voice was pretty dope though.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the thing is, like, it has like the reason why he didn't talk was to have that persona and everything else as this sort of wanderer of the wasteland, and that. And I like I said, I dug that enough. I wish I'd gotten more, and maybe I wouldn't be in this position if I had saw the other Mad Maxes.
Although all things considered, that's a pretty good problem to have.
Yeah.
To want more.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go read up on things and figure out the missing parts that I don't know.
All right.
But as of right now, my brain goes, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it sounds phenomenal, but it's just lacking that all-important story, but not as bad as Avengers is. Like, Avengers lacks a lot of story that I wish it would have built up, whereas this is just like, man... Like, if Avengers, if we'd made a couple tweaks with Avengers, it'd be perfect. If we had just got rid of the dead weight of the drama and just, just increased the nitro just that much more, just spit more gas into it, so to speak, in the engine, it would be a perfect film. And I think that's what it was, is that it had so much over-the-top style that it's just like, just go with this. Just get rid of this other point that's just holding it down for me. Just go fucking balls to the wall bananas at that point. And maybe that's what it is. I want an all or nothing kind of thing.
Well,
in terms of that.
I think I can live with you saying that it only has kind of one problem.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily agree.
Fair
but
enough.
I think that is a reasonable stance to have.
Because I can't say that it's an ugly. Like I can't say, oh, it's an ugly film. Like no, it's fucking gorgeous. Like
Right,
it's like there are shots. I'm just like, how the fuck did you?
I mean, it's easily the most visually interesting film of the year.
Yeah, well, because
sure.
again, like if I want to spend more time, if I'm watching a shot, and I want to spend more time in a shot. I'm just like, why are we not spending more time in this shot? Can we go back to that shot because that was beautiful? Like, of the problems I've had with movies, it's always been like, just stay here for a little bit longer, please, just because this looks great.
Yeah.
I want to study this more. But again, if that's my problem with the film, that's to me that goes, well, then I'll just watch it on video, and I'll watch it at home where I can rewind it and kind of pause and study a scene or whatever, or go back a couple shots. Versus watching in theaters where I have to go, well, fuck, I gotta go pay another, $10 to go watch it again. But that does not mean it's not worth a watch.
Right.
It just means.
And then
that.
there's that shot where it was like right after they put Tom Hardy on the front of the car, which that was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
And then like the first shot of them introducing that is like that panning shot along like the blood transfusion pipe, and it's insane how like you can have like this entirely orange scene and have that red from the blood stick out so much.
Well, even the thing
and
about
just follow
even
this
having
tube all the way through. It was
the
really
Half-Life
awesome.
boys, I guess they're called. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I don't quite know why they're albinos and stuff. I assume it's just because of breeding and that high amount of inbreeding. I guess I really don't know why.
I'm pretty sure it's canon that it's painted white.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure because there were definitely. I mean, once you had the guys who were outside of the main city for a while, like that white wore off, and it's not like it's not like they repainted them for that scene or whatever. It's like it was clear that the white had,
fair enough.
had
Again,
rubbed off in all the sand.
There's a lot of questions I have, which only because I'm like, I wish we had spent more time with it. But I'll say this: if everything I have said visually appeals to you, and everything that I have slammed is like, I don't even care about that, Robert.
Yeah.
Then go in theaters and go forth, my child, and watch this and watch this again in theaters. Because we're spoiler ridden, and chances are you've watched it by now, hopefully. But if you haven't, then go forth and watch it for sure.
And it's not as bad as he says it is.
No, and I'm being very critical because of those small things. Had they been tweaked, like I would be like, let's shut this. Like let's not record an episode today. Like this has been in my mind. Had they tweak those like small things, let's say, okay, Brandt, I've never pulled this before. We're not recording an episode tonight. We're gonna watch the movie again because like it was so visually great. I just wished it would have like just dropped it and just said like, fuck it, we're going high octane for this entire thing, because I would have watched it again at that point. But like if I watch it at home, I would skip over the drama scenes. I would just like hit the next track to get that to get back to the action, because once it got to the action, it was.
And to be clear, most of the movie
is the action. That's the thing. It's just like that's why it's such a small quip. It's such a it's like a minor thing. Like it's not even enough where I can say like it didn't make me hate the film. I'll put it that way. Believe the hype. Brandt, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Gatowag, GATOWAG.
Of course, you can find me. I'm at Vincent404 on the Twitters. If you want to check out our previous episodes, go and look at our other reviews, such as we did with Avengers Age of Ultron mentioned here, and other things like that. You can head over to our website, CosmicRadio.TV /Cinematography. You can hit us up at Twitter at Cinematography. We have an email account.
Cinematalkraphy@gmail.com.
Yeah, and let us know what you want us to be seeing or what you want us to hear talk about, because I mean, there's a whole movie's coming out this summer. We've got ideas what we want to do.
Yeah.
But maybe you want us to go check out a movie. Maybe there's something that you would like us to sort of discuss and get our 2 cents on, so to speak. Or maybe there's other future things like animes. Like I know you recently saw finally Akira.
I did.
And maybe you want to hear sort of like us talk about those things or delve deeper into something else. Maybe you want us to discuss some like like one of our highest viewed videos is the breakdown of the
500 Days of
Summer scene. So
that is our highest.
It is our highest
by a large margin.
By a large margin. So maybe that tells us something. So if there's like another shot you'd love us to break down from some movie like that, let us know, because I'm more than happy
Let's
to
just
do
break down all of the shots in this movie.
In Mad Max and totally get completely and utterly just like slammed. Just bam.
But we could break it up into a bunch of pieces.
We could
Each scene will be its own video.
It would be its own video for sure. So that's it for today. So see you next time. And how do you want to end this, sir? Cinema.
Have a lovely day.
Cinema. Talk to you later in the wasteland.
It's a line from the movie.
The greatest song ever made. You know what this is, right? Bullshit, you don't know what this is. There's only one song everyone knows from Eternals 2. This is actually diegetic in the film. Go Ninja, go Ninja. This was diegetic.